Hi everyone! Welcome again to my channel, Math is Fun channel. Again, this channel is an educational channel to help you understand your lessons in mathematics. This is intended to those who are doing the online classes out there and also those who are answering their modules. Hi! This will help you develop your concept about mathematics or about your lesson in math. And also this will help you, or this video discussion will help you realize that math is not a difficult subject, but it's easy, fun, and interesting. Is it exciting? Yes, so exciting. Please do not forget to subscribe my channel and share this one to your friends out there. And do not forget to write your comments below in this video discussion. So now let's start in our discussion for today. So our discussion will focus on factoring, but we have intended topic for factoring in here, which is for factoring trinomials, specifically the quadratic trinomials. So we will now talk about factoring quadratic trinomials or factoring trinomials. We all know that quadratic trinomial is a polynomial that can be written as this one. Sorry for the, yeah, ax squared plus bx plus c. So this can be written, or quadratic trinomial can be written as ax squared plus bx plus c. It depends about your a, if it is greater than 1 or greater than 1, or yes, or equal to 1, but not less than 1 or equal to 0. So now again, what I mean is not equal to 0, or else this will become a linear polynomial, or what we call that, yeah, linear thing. So now going back to what I said, quadratic trinomial, it has three terms, and of course its highest degree is 2. So it can be written as ax squared plus bx plus c. Now trying to relate it in factoring class, how do we factor polynomials? What I mean, trinomials or quadratic trinomial, where your a is equal to 1. So how do we do that one? So let's try to have first a recall or recap about multiplying binomials using FOIL method. So if you can remember about multiplying polynomials or binomial by a binomial using a FOIL method, this is how we do it. So we will distribute your first and first. Yes, your FOIL. You have for your F, first and first, you have the X times X, then your O is the outer, X times 2. And of course, you will do the I. The I is times a plus 3 times X. So this is your I. And of course, your last and last will be your, yes, 3 times 2. Again, your F, first and first, is X times X. And for your O is, uh, this is your O, X times 2. So you have it there. So after using the FOIL method in multiplying these binomials rather, that gives you what? So we have it x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. And then we combine like terms where our like terms are 2x and 3x. So that gives you a final answer of x squared plus 5x plus 6. So this is how we obtain the trinomial x squared plus 5x plus 6 by multiplying the two binomials using the FOIL method. So now, how do we relate it to factoring trinomial squares? So now, please do not forget that factoring trinomial squares, all problems that are considered trinomial squares will be able to be factored by taking the square roots of the first and last term. If you could still remember about a trinomial square, these are the perfect square trinomials. Example, this one. This is a perfect square trinomial. Why? How do we scan it if it's um, a perfect square trinomial? First, try to look at the first and then the third term. They are perfect square, correct? X squared is a perfect square and 49 is a perfect square. So when we get its square root, we have x for x squared, and for 49, that gives you 7. Square root of 49 is 7. Then when you twice it, multiply it and twice it, so 7 times x and twice it, that gives you 14x. So look at 14x. So meaning to say, this trinomial is a perfect square trinomial. So how do we, actually a perfect square trinomial is a product of squaring of binomial. So this one can be written as x minus 7 as factored form square. Or shall I say x times x minus 7 times x minus 7. So again, a perfect square trinomial is a product of squaring of binomial. So when you factor this perfect square trinomial, all you have to do is just to get the square root of the first term. We have x, and square root of the third term, which is 7. Then just copy the sign of the middle term, which is negative. So you already have the two factors, x minus 7 and x minus 7. So that's how you factor a perfect square trinomial. But always remember, not all trinomials are perfect square trinomials. So you have to scan it or check it first if the polynomial or trinomial is a perfect square trinomial. Okay? Do not forget that one so that you will not be deceived. So our concern now is, what if that trinomial is not a perfect square trinomial? Then we call it quadratic trinomial. So how do we factor quadratic trinomials where your quadratic trinomials, your a there is equal to 1? So factoring trinomials, method 1. So the method 1 is intended for factoring quadratic trinomial where your a is equal to 1. Let's have an example. We will factor trinomials such as x squared plus 7x plus 12. This one. Oh, see, your a here is 1. A is 1. What is a again? 1. Where did we get 1? Your a, remember, is the coefficient of your numerical coefficient of your first term. So when you check this one, though the first term is a perfect square, but the third term is not a perfect square. 12 is not a perfect square. Therefore, this is not a perfect square trinomial. So what will we do in here, class, is we are going to use the method 1 because this trinomial belongs to a quadratic trinomial where your a is equal to 1. Then you will just follow the reversed method of FOIL in this case. So how do we do that one? Okay, let's start. If the x squared term has no coefficient other than 1, example x squared plus 7x plus 12, then we will do the step number 1, which is listing all pairs of numbers that multiply to equal the constant 12. So this is what we call AC method. But since your A is equal to 1, just focus your C. Your C there is your third term. What is your third term? 12. So we will list all a combination of the factors for 12. Two combinations. So we have it. For factors for 12, we all know we can use the, yes, factors of 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. These are the factors of 12. So make sure, yes, 1 times 12 is equal to 12, which satisfies the condition. 2 times 6 is 12, which satisfies the condition too. 3 times 4 is 12, which is also will satisfy also the condition. But what about the middle term? So make sure that your factors that you guess are or will satisfy the middle term. What do you mean, sir? When you try to combine them, they will come up with the coefficient of the middle term. So let's see. 1 and 12 all are positive. So 1 times 12 is 12, which is your C. So 1 plus 12 is 13. This is not 13, this is 7. So not this one. We will not use this one because it does not satisfy the condition for the coefficient of the middle term. 2 times 6 is 12. Yes, check. But 2 plus 6 is 8. This is not 8. This is 7. So x. So what about this one, the last one? 3 times 4 is 12. Check. 3 times 4, 3 plus 4, since both of them are positive, so we add them, 7. So this one satisfies the condition. So now we already have the factors that satisfies the condition. We have 3 and 4. So now choose the pair that adds up to the middle coefficient, and we found it a while ago that it's 3 and 4, because when you add 3 and 4, that gives you 7, which is the same as the middle coefficient of the second term. So now, as you can see, fill those numbers into the blanks in the binomial. So just fill it x plus blank and x plus blank. So you can just interchange them if you wish to. It's up to you. So we can just have it x plus 3 and x plus 4. So these are the factors. Very easy, right? Yes. This is only intended for a is equal to 1. So do not forget that the factor, therefore we can say that the factors of x squared plus 7x plus 12 or x plus 3 and x plus 4. Exactly. So now let's try to factor this quadratic trinomial x squared plus 2x minus 24. Are you ready? I guess you are ready. So now let's try to factor them. So first, what's the first step? This time, the constant is negative, correct? It's negative 24. So what will we do here is, of course, same process. List all pairs of numbers that multiply to equal the constant as negative 24, which is your C, negative 24. Then to get negative 24, one number must be positive and one number must be negative, correct? Because when we multiply opposite signs, that gives you a negative number or product. So we will look for two factors of negative 24, that one of its factors is a negative and one is a positive. So now let's try to take a look. So as you can see, we have these combinations. We can use 1 and 24, where 1 is positive and negative 24. 24 is negative rather. And then on the other side, we have negative 1 and 24. We can also use these two factors, 2 and negative 12 and negative 2 and 12. We can also use these factors or combination as 3 and negative 8 and negative 3 and 8. And also lastly, we can use 4 and negative 6 and negative 4 and 6. So now, all of them satisfies the conditions. When you try to multiply them, that gives you negative 24. But what is our looking for, or what we are looking for rather in here, is the positive 2. When we try to combine them, that gives you positive 2. 1 and negative 24, since there are different signs, so you can just subtract them. 1 minus 24 is negative 23. So this is not positive 2. So we will not get this one as factors. What about this one? Negative 1 and 24, that gives you positive 23. It's not 2. Again, we're looking for 2 in here for its middle term. 2 and negative 12 is, when you combine them, opposite signs, that gives you negative 10. So not 2. So x. What about this one? Positive 10, not 2, x. What about this one? 3 minus 8, it's negative 5. So not 2. So this one, negative 3 and 8, that gives you positive 5. So not 2. So x. So what about this one? 4 minus 6 is negative 2. This one, so that is not included, or we will reject it. What about negative 4 and 6? 6 and negative 4 gives you positive 2, which is the same as the coefficient of your middle term. Therefore, we found already the combination, and then the combinations that we have are negative 4 and 6. Okay, so please take down note of that. So the factors that satisfies the factors that will satisfy the conditions are, or which pair adds up to 2? Yes, that's negative 4 and 6. So write the binomial factors so we can have it x minus 4 and x plus 6. Therefore, the factors of x squared plus 2x minus 24 is equal to x minus 4 and x plus 6. Very easy, right? Yes, so easy. Very exciting. Okay, so now what about this one? X squared minus 11x plus 24. Same step. This time, the middle factor is negative. So take down note, the middle factor is negative. So the coefficient of the middle term is negative. So of course, we will look for the C or your third term, the constant term, which is 24. So find the factors of 24. We have it negative 1, negative 24, negative 2, and negative 12, negative 3, and negative 8, and also negative 4 and negative 6, which gives them a negative 11. So the first one is, yes, it will not, because that gives you, this one will give you negative 25. This one, that gives you negative 14. No. This one, negative, sorry, negative 11. Very good. This one is negative 10, not negative 11. Therefore, negative 3 and negative 8 are perfect combination for your factors in here that will satisfy the condition. So very good. Negative 3 and negative 8. So now we will write it in a binomial factor. So we can just write x squared minus 11x plus 24 in factored form as x minus 3 and x minus 8. Easy, right? So now let's proceed to the most challenging part in factoring quadratic trinomials, where your a is greater than 1. So what will we do when your a is greater than 1? Of course, let's have an example. 3x squared plus 14x plus 8. What will we do? First, we all know that your a here is 3 is your a, the coefficient of the first term. Of course, your c is the coefficient, of course, the constant term rather. So now, to do this one, of course, let's do the steps. This time, the x squared terms does have a coefficient other than 1. That's why your a is greater than 1. In the example, it's 3, so greater than 1. So how will we factor it? First thing that we're going to do, we will just follow the AC method. How do we follow the AC method? What will you do, class, is you will just multiply your a and your c. Your a is 3, your c is 8. So multiply 3 times 8, that gives you 24. That is the step number 1. So now, next is we are going to list all the factors of the product of your AC, which is 24. So find the factors of 24, same as how we did it in the first method or method 1. So the factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8 and 4 and 6. So which one gives you a coefficient of 14 when you combine them? Is it 1 and 24? Remember, your middle term has a coefficient or numerical coefficient of 14. So this one is not rejected because 1 and 24 will give you 25. This one, 2 and 12. Yes, exactly. This one. This one is not, because 3 and 8 gives you 11, not 14. And this one gives you 10, not 14. Therefore, 2 and 12, yes, the music is on. Sorry, again, this is today is daylight. So expect that there are a lot of sounds or background music coming from outside world in this classroom. So again, going back to the discussions, after listing all the factors, we satisfy 2 and 12 as the factors, because when we combine them, that gives you 14. So we will use 2 and 12. So now, so which pairs add up to 14? Yes, it's 2 and 12. Sorry, I'm going to erase this one, clear it up first. So now, to continue, write temporary factors with the two numbers. So we pick what factors? We pick 2 and 2 and yes, 12. And after that, step number 5, put the original leading coefficient 3 under both numbers. In short, you divide them by 3. Why 3? Because your a is 3. The coefficient of 3x squared, as you can see, is 3. This is what it meant. I'll highlight. Divide it both side by 3, since we have it as our a, which is equal to 3. So over 3 and then divide it by 3. As simple as that. So next step is we are going to reduce the fractions if possible. So as you can see, we can only reduce 12 by 3. 12 divided by 3, that gives you 4 over 1 or 4. So we already have x plus 2 over 3 and another factor as x plus 4. Then the next step is you write the fraction, the x plus 2 over 3, this one, sorry, we have to this one. We have to write it as, okay, we have to convert this in a non-fractional form or term, yes. So that gives us, or by moving the denominators in front of x. So your denominator is 3, you just write it in the coefficient of your x there. So that gives you 3x plus 2. So this is what it meant. So that's how you do it, sorry. So that's how you do it. This one, the 3, you just write it there as a numerical coefficient of your x, or it's simply like multiplying this factor x plus 2 over 3. You just multiply it by 3. So you have it 3x plus 2. So these are already the factors of this given quadratic trinomial. I hope you got the point or the steps in here. So you should always check the factors by distributing a especially since this process has more than a couple of steps. Okay, so you can just check it by using FOIL method. So you can just have it 3x squared plus 14x plus 8, which is checked. Therefore, we can say that the factors of 3x squared plus 14x plus 8 are 3x plus 2 and x plus 4. Okay, so that's how we do it. So this time, the x squared, always remember, this is how we do it. So now, do not forget how we did it. As a recap, we factor it when a is greater than 1. To factor the quadratic trinomial, you have to multiply your a and your c. After that, you will follow the the steps in the first in the method 1 rather, which is to look for the factors of, or a combination of two factors of your AC. Then make sure that it will satisfy the middle term. And if you found it already, then you will just divide both sides. Divide the factors by the A. What is the value of your A? You divide it. So after dividing it, then you already have to reduce it. And then after that, the fraction, you convert it in a non-fractional form by putting the denominator as the coefficient of your variable or first term. Or you can simply rewrite the fractional form by multiplying them by its denominator to both sides of the terms in your binomial factor that has fractional form, that is in fractional form rather. So now, I want you to try to factor these in your notebook. Do not forget. And of course, for the solution, this one, for t squared minus 4t minus 21, that gives you that same step as how we do it. Okay, I will just show it. And of course, this is part of your activity. So do not forget to do the steps and the solution, of course. This one for number 5. So how many are there? So you have how many problems to solve? 6 problems. So that is how we will end our discussion about factoring quadratic trinomials. Always remember, class, that the essence of mathematics is not to make simple things complicated, but to make complicated things simple. Thank you so much for subscribing. Do not forget to subscribe. Those who are not yet subscribing my channel, please do subscribe my channel and share this one to your friends. And always remember, math is fun. Have a good day. Thank you for listening until the